little bit. So that second day, one of the reasons I chose the Sarah was because I wanted you to feel standing, and I really wanted you to know that I'm hearing your goal. And the Sarah was beneficial because even though you were standing and it had your legs dependent, you didn't have to worry. You still were able to do a lot with your trunk. So talk about kind of some of the other pieces of equipment that we introduced you to along the way.
Well, being in the Sarah, we used hand equipment where I would have to let go of the Sarah and raise my arms up and use that. Then we used the bench and chairs and exercise balls and
while you were in the Sarah.
While I was in the Sarah. And I had to learn how to balance imagery-wise on my upper body, being able to balance being on an exercise ball 100% of the time. And so I realized I had a lot of work to do. And the different equipment that I progressed through, I felt I was going at a good pace.
One of the things we really liked about the Sarah was being able to integrate interval training, so circuits. You really seem to enjoy those, that little bit of challenge of doing something hard for 30 seconds and then relaxing or bringing down the intensity and then going back at it, because you had great aerobic capacity prior to your injury. You were doing yoga, you were biking, you were really, really fit. So I saw you really engage, especially as we got in the interval training. I really liked seeing that.
The equipment helps me progress while making me feel safe to do it. And it may be just small incremental steps to start with that it may take months to get to a certain point, then we can graduate to another step and another piece of equipment is available where I didn't have.
Yeah, and I would say as a physical therapist, again, you had some pieces of your medical history that were normally we don't have to worry about. So this osteoporosis and to push you too far was really something I was extremely concerned about. So I loved being able to do those little increments, and we could try something and really just tweak it.
And I did too, because I do not want to give up on my goal, because I want to walk. Even if it's with crutches or a walker, I want to be able to walk on my own. And to get there, I'm not going to give up.
Because we're doing a lot of walking, a lot of stepping. Remember when we started, what pieces of equipment did we use when we started our walking training? Where did we start?
We started out with parallel bars, and all we had for helping me stand was knee immobilizers that were really old and really deteriorating. But hey,
we had the overhead lift.
We had the overhead lift, and it was just enough to get me up and walking and visualizing the mechanics of walking again. The friction reducers were such a big help because I can't bend my feet or my ankles to jettison myself forward. It's all in my hip. And so you don't realize the friction on the bottom of your shoes that keep you from walking if you can't raise your legs. And the friction reducer took all that dynamics out. And that was a big help to help me get my mind retrained on how to walk.
And you also used it allowed you to get more repetitions in because you weren't so tired dragging that foot against friction.
Correct.
What are some other ways that you've used friction reducers? How else have we used
We've used friction reducers in my bed because there are certain exercises, stretches in my bed that I do I can't get on the floor to do yoga anymore, so there's some poses that I can do in bed, and just flipping over from my back to my stomach, the friction reducer helps me alleviate all that extra motion. So I can get in and do a cobra pose. And I also use it for when I'm doing my scooching in order to build my pectoralis muscles. I put 2 friction reducers, one on top of the other, so I can slide back and forth and increase my distance of how far I can scooch.
Yeah, you're up to like 20 back and forth now
20 back
for
and forth.
endurance, and that's all the pushing motion that you need when you're walking. So we're really able to you're able to carry through with a lot of stuff that we don't have to spend time on Monday when we work together. You do all that work during the week, and now we can just focus on walking.
Yes. The e-pacer has really helped with getting my mind retrained on how to walk, and I have found that if I visualize my walking after my session until the next one, how I want to do it, then when I get into it again, I can tweak what I'm doing. I can visualize what I worked on in my mind all week long, and it works. In the parallel bars, and then we transferred to the other equipment, and that even helped more because it helped unweight me, so I could have more mobility and actually learn how to walk, learn the mechanics of walking, and was able to increase my gait length each time.
So to therapists who are thinking, I'm not really sure about all this equipment and how it can help, what would you say to them with your experiences being at a place that didn't really use a lot of equipment or any versus what you've experienced here in our clinic?
I would say not having any type of equipment would have been so difficult for even 2 therapists helping me learn how to walk. There's so much weight bearing to help me walk that they would have had, I would think, so much strain on their backs and arms, and also I would look at the safety of it. I wouldn't feel as safe because they're only human. They only have so much strength that, can help me walk. And the ones that didn't have the equipment and only one therapist you're working with, I saw it that I said, there's no way I'm going to learn how to walk this way. And
then the other the other one I want to talk about was just the high repetitions of things we were able to do because we had the equipment. So, your goal was walking. So everything we did was geared toward strengthening your trunk so you could use it for momentum, strengthening weight bearing. So if we're going to get muscle return, we're really emphasizing, let's see if we can make those connections. And everything was about walking. So thinking about your progression of repetitions, you started out doing 6 feet in those parallel bars with the overhead harness because that's what we could tolerate.
Yes.
You were whipped after 6 feet back and forth. And now you are walking
500 feet.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my goal before spring break ended was I wanted to be able to do those 500 feet. And I knew how I had to do it.
The big change in the last couple months has been this use of momentum in the equipment where you're walking and heave-hoeing and you're getting 500 feet. But now what we're noticing is that you are going longer distances more efficiently where we're getting smaller steps that are more controlled.
With the videos that we were taking, getting that instant feedback, what I was seeing that I was doing that wasn't mechanically efficient, and I thought to myself, studying those, that I needed to raise my hips up more to swing my legs and not so much bending side to side for the momentum. And that made a huge difference.
So you were able to watch the videos, see yourself,
yes,
see the equipment, and know, hey, if I do this a little differently, and you could feel the ability to do that in your body.
Yes.
Awesome.
And that made a big difference. And the more I walk, when I first started walking in the tram, I couldn't look down because then I'd fall forward. So I had to keep my head up, so I couldn't see my feet, and I couldn't tell that I was swinging my legs. So I was relying on the therapist to tell me what I was doing. And then after, I think a month or so, then I could finally feel the vibration when my foot hit the floor that I was walking. And each time I could feel it, right, left. And then I was thinking, okay, as soon as I feel that, I know what, and so my mechanics started going faster, and I could understand in my brain what was happening.
So was that new feeling that you didn't have before, or just an awareness of something?
It was an awareness, because I could feel the vibration up here, but I couldn't actually tell that my legs were moving. And that, I never had that awareness before.
So you learned to feel in the intact parts of your body you still had the transfer
Yes.
of force.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's like kind of feeling an earthquake is what I was feeling. So I can't feel it down here, but the vibration generated up to here. Okay, I felt my right foot hit the floor. And so as soon as I felt that, I knew I could kick my.
And I don't think we would have ever got there without the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of repetitions.